welcome to Bukit Jalil National Stadium here in Kuala Lumpur for the opening round of the 2018 Asia Rugby Championship. These pictures coming to you live from this beautiful stadium built in 1998 for the Commonwealth Games. What an event that was. Crowd building up and a spectacular occasion for the Malaysian Rugby Union, not only to step up and play with the top tier, but also to host the first two legs here in Kuala Lumpur. Hong Kong will come to town next week. Let's look at the standings from last year. Japan, of course, taking the full 19. Korea with that miserly one little bonus point for all the effort they put in, and Hong Kong on 10. A normal situation, you might say, in Asian rugby, but there's no Japan this year. They are taking a wee break, which allows Malaysia to step up into the top tier. And you might have heard what Japan are up to next year. They're hosting a little tournament in 2019.
Side again, Wyatt misses his man. Gregan inside.
Here it is for Johnny. Heartbreaker for the Wallabies.
John Kelly.
A big try, Rodriguez standing on it, try surely that takes the Frenchman into the final.
Folks, Japan already qualified for next year. Here is our Malaysian lineup, and pay attention to the Fijian-born players in number 4, 6 and 8, also the midfield 12 and 13. The Koreans are fielding 4 Japanese players, Japanese-based players in the pack who they've normally not had access to. Look out for them in number 4, number 1, 5 and 7. It's a strong looking pack for the Japanese. They're weighing in 77 kilos heavier than the Malaysians as we stand by for the two teams to come out. I'm in front, Buzabel, and I'd like to welcome in my co-commentator, Mr. Jeff Dyer.
And it's a treat to be here with you today. What a privilege. It's one of my games, and it's ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you, and someone that can feel the heat is passionate about, and that might be the only trump card that Malaysia need today.
It's steaming indeed, and Mr. About this time was a massive thunderstorm, 4:30, which made the stadium into pitch black, and it hosed it down for a couple of hours as we get ready now for the national anthems of Malaysia and South Korea. What must be going through their mind with recent events in Korea? Emotional scenes here at the National Stadium. A lot of pride in that Malaysian jersey. Crowd on their feet. Our match officials today from the Hong Kong Society of Referees. Tim Baker with the whistle. Steve Copeland, Lawrence Wilkinson, the assistant. Louis Rollins is the TMO. Listen to that crowd. There is the home coach, Lee Nyok Fa, in his second stint as the national team coach. He played prop for the national team from 82 to 95. He's a likeable chap, and he's done wonders with this Malaysian team since he came back in 2014, taking out the Division 2 of the ARC, then the Division 1 for the last 2 years in a row. And that is why they take their place in this top tier event, with Japan stepping out. And it's going to be Malaysia, world rank 45, at home to the Koreans. World rank 31, they've slipped a few places in recent times since that disappointing outing last year's Asia Rugby Championship. A lot will come down to preparation. What have these two teams been doing over the last 12 months? Well, we'll tell you a little bit more about that in a moment. But it's going to be Oh Yong-Hung from Korea to get us underway in this charged atmosphere at the stadium. Goes deep to the skipper, and no, it's not the skipper, sorry, it's Nur Ikwan. Tim Baker says that went backwards, so a little moment of relief there for the young man straight off the bat, Jed.
Well, nervous times for Malaysia in this Premier Division of the Asian Rugby Championship for the first time after taking the vacated spot from Japan, and it's going to be a very, very interesting look at how the table really is arranged in Asia as we take a look at the best of the rest in the Premiership.
Kim Jeep nails it. He's got two massive second rowers to aim for. Early touch for Jiang Xiaoquan. They've got an impressive back row, a tireless back row. They really are one of the powerful components of this Korean squad. Some settling phases before going wide to Lee Jung-kyu. That's Lee Jai-bok there, sometimes the skipper on the floor. He was in the Hong Kong Sevens a couple of weeks ago with Korea, as was most of the rest of his back line. Crowd applauding some early defence. Here goes Lee again. Ball to the ground in the few remaining sunny parts of the stadium. That should hopefully disappear within the next sort of 20 minutes. Getting on the wrong side there is Nathaniel Tan, biggest man in this Malaysian squad. Here they come, up to the 22. Massive hit going in from Gavidi, and the crowd loves it. But Baker says they were offside, so a good opening salvo and some good defence from the Malaysians so far.
Well, just early testing from the Koreans, but Malaysian defence, what about this one? Sighted him from a long way back, and that's a big shot from the midfielder. That would have woken that prop up. The eyes will be wide open now, Boozer.
That's Na Kwon Yung from the Kubota club in Japan. One of the Japanese-based players who's been brought back here. 118 kilos of him going backwards in the tackle of Gavidi from the Sandakan club. He's no small man himself at 105 kilos. So it'll be O with the first shot at 3 points here in Malaysia. And maybe settle the nerves and quieten this crowd down a little bit. They're playing their part so far. It's terrific to see. It's got to be 5,000 people here at the stadium, which can hold 87,000, so it's only a drop in the ocean. And Copeland and Wilkinson up with the flags as Oh Yong-Hung, with just a couple of minutes on the clock, puts a valuable 3 on the board. And look at him, he's saying, settle down, boys. Good start.
I'll be happy. First trip down to the Malaysian 22, and they've come away with some points. And I want to just be repeating that series of events as often as possible. One gets the feeling that if Malaysia can make it very difficult for Korea, the heat, the humidity, and the hometown fans might give them some extra legs going into the final 20.
Shahir Ashraf goes deep this time and gets a net gain out of that, so they'll win themselves a line out about 10 metres inside the Korean half of the field. He's a big fella himself, is the skipper Shahir Ashraf, the fly half. Not many fly halves clocking in at 110 kilos, but Let's hope for him that he can take the line on. And outside him, two big Fijian players, Gavidi, Rabibi. Here is Amarul Mukminin with his first lob into the line out. He's got a couple of tall players to go for in tan. And also in Dualia, who takes it this time. They go wide early. Coming in off the left foot is Rabibi. The crowd gets excited. A little bit lazy there from the Korean defender, just nosing around at the back of that ruck. Here come the Malaysians with their first chance of ball. Can they keep it for a few phases? Put some pressure on this Korean defence. Give a bit of a stress test. There was Fa'alu Penya. Big number 6 there. Nur Ikwan. This is Nathaniel Tan. 191 centimetres of him. Shahir Ashraf decides to pop it up to the big Gavidi again, and not really troubling the Korean defence too much at this stage. This time Shahir goes wide with a little chip kick, but it's a bit of a waste in the end and frittered away. An easy take for Lee Jai Bok at fullback.
Well, just a little bit of execution. The Koreans holding very steady, but it's good to see the continuity from the Malaysians. If you keep it up, it's a fairly solid work rate.
One fancies the Malaysians might be a bit more comfortable once it loosens up with the 5 Fijians. And the Malaysian players, or the Malaysian natives themselves, are not afraid to run the ball around. We're more familiar with them on the 7 circuit. In fact, the 7 squad were down the Commonwealth Games 2 weeks ago. None of those players are here. That's another set of elite athletes left out of the squad as part of the preparation. Amarul Mukminin again. This time to Tan. And it's dropped at the base there from Nur Ikwan. Just went down at his toes, didn't it?
Well, it's still a little bit nervy. Still a little bit nervy, the Malaysians, and I think out of the corner of his eye you could see the odd Korean starting to sneak through the line out as they got rushed. Not a lot wrong with that. Yeah, really, it's just a momentary lapse of reason from the halfback for Malaysia. It's all right, Dave. Bit nervy. Top level footy, this, Boozer.
Crouch.
That's right, a sneaky peek will cost you.
Stand up.
Malaysia having no trouble in the last 2 seasons in the Division 1 of the ARC. Beating Sri Lanka, their last real test match back in May last year. Keeping the Sri Lankans trialists, but also beating Singapore and the UAE.
Crouch.
And they've been on a tour down to New Zealand in March to play in Auckland. They played 3 games, drew 1 and lost 2, but had a great experience. The Korean scrum has got to be stronger. The front row is 42 kilograms heavier. Here comes O. Out wide to Lee, tries to straighten, but there's some strong defence there in the midfield. It's also a little bit of a waste, you might say, after the hard work done in the midfield. Lee goes up in the air. Tim Baker says, not a fair contest, so the arm is out. Advantage is being played as the little Lee Mingjun takes it up to the 10. They're on the front foot now, Korea. There's numbers out wide. Here's Na. Will they run out? No. It's coming down this wing as Kang Jinggu. Good covering tackle again, this time from Gavidi. He's made 3 or 4 good tackles so far. That's loose. But getting it on the bounce is Lee Jinkyu. Makes another run. Can they get on the outside here? Beautiful pass out from the big man Lee. And there's some space, and beating the tackle for the first try, Jang Jong Min. And it was a little bit sloppy, Jed, but it doesn't matter. They're over the chalk.
Superbly finished by the speedster. Listen, takes a good ball, shapes up his man, does the prop on the outside, Covering defenders coming too hard. He had a lot of work to do. He's done that beautifully. Here's a great angle for it as well. Look at this. Front rows don't belong out here, son. It's as simple as that. That's a well-taken try by Korea. Again, another visit into the 22, resulting in more points.
We got to know Jiang on last year's Asia Rugby Championship. Was a bencher and got promoted through injury and was one of the standouts last year. John Walters putting a lot of faith in him. Could be the fastest man out there. Oh, now with the sun in his eyes a little. You can see that big portion of crowd there that's hiding in the shade. Can he add the extra 2? The crowd has played their part in putting off O, and he hooks it across the face of the goalpost. As we look once again, look at that pass from the big man Lee Jin-seok.
Well, they were able to create the space out there through the attack down the far flank on the other side, but it's good ball handling, and in the end, look at that, the change up. Great right foot step, comes back.
He's electric, gang. So it's 8-0, and again, Shahir goes deep.
Terrific strength.
Very athletically done again. It's Lee Jin-seok, man from NEC in Japan. Oh, this time puts an old-fashioned bit of spiral onto that one, and he's got some good territory. Taking it though is Oman. He's read it well. Gives it back to his fullback, Amrul Akil. Just pokes it down deep with not much ambition. 3 or 4 Koreans lie waiting, and this is where they can be dangerous. Talk about the Fijians liking it to loosen up. These Koreans don't mind a broken field. Here's Nu Ikwan, and he's got no one with him. And he puts a good old spiral, and he gets some good meters off that one. Great work from the little 9.
Well, it's probably all their expectations wrapped up in that final try that the Koreans ran in. The Malaysians will be under the understanding that mistakes will lead to points. It's a fairly brutal way to learn, but that's when you go up the levels. It's certainly the way it's taught. Korea have done well. 2 visits, 8 points. Korean fans online will be happy.
Kim doesn't get this one straight, and it goes a little wayward to Kim Ho-bom, the Kubota man. He's 198 centimetres. There he is, tallest man out there. He's a huge man. And he has a wry smile there. There's no need. No one's going to challenge him in the air. No one did. Got a little bit of a outswinger into that one. So here's a chance now for Malaysia, but they'll have to get their scrum right because they are going to be under the pump this whole match, you'd imagine, at scrum time. Look for a quick hook here.
5, 6.
Already the Koreans trying to get the go on. Here's the big number 8, Vunimoko, for his first run of the game. And he hasn't protected that, but they weren't back 10, says Baker. And what do here? Do they take the shot, or do they apply some pressure? It's a test match after all.
Go to the points. The big man's come off. He's well there. It's an early shove by Korea, so discipline.
They've tapped and gone, Jet. This is courageous from the Malaysians, and maybe not the wisest thing after it's knocked on in contact. You can imagine it's going to be slippy with that humidity out there, and it's high fives. Well done, Korean defence.
Well, a brash call, I think, by Malaysia to take the tap there. I can understand why. You want to get into the game, but as you pointed out, Boozer, should be some limitations around your thinking. Pop for 3 would have made it 5 points. And funnily, in a situation like that, in a game like this, 3 points to 8, it would actually create scoreboard pressure on Korea.
5.
That's right. And at the very least, they might have gone for the line. Maybe not back in their line out against the much taller Koreans. Anyway, look how solid that is. They're just trying to milk the penalty, perhaps. No. Back it goes to Lee. Oh, and there's a big collision in midfield. This is going to be a good 80 minutes in the midfield. these two teams have abrasive midfields. Lee Mingun with the box kick goes deep. There's no real chase on here. It's like a bit of a dog leg, so it could be exploited. Amrul Akil beats the first one, gives it off to the big man, Rabibi. Now they come the other way. They're marked up though. Good footwork from Amin. Struggling just to stay in the Korean half now. Shahir sends that off to a rather static front rower who just puts his head down, gets up and keeps going. It's Amarul Mukmin, and look at this! Gives it to his big number 8. There's the 22. Are there numbers? Can they exploit it? They fire it wide. Oh no, nearly intercept by Jang, and he would have been away 80 metres down the field. The crowd likes that, and that's more positive from the Malaysians.
Yeah, great work from Malaysia. Really, Korea to blame for not finishing off in some of those tackling scenarios. And you can hear this crowd, when they like something, they like it a lot. And still, Korea, they, for mine, it's looking more organised. Up in defence, attacking the ball carrier. They've obviously done their homework. They know who the strong ball carriers are for Malaysia, and they're pretty keen to get up there and stop them, but they've got to go for that ball. They've got to finish those scenarios off.
Look at this tight head on the side for Korea. It's Kang Tae-yeon from the Korean Armed Forces Club. 130 kilos.
Heavens above.
And he gets a little bit of a lean on that, and it does the job. Now, a little bit static as Rabibi puts his head down. Takes a couple of valuable metres. And it's a contest on the floor. Shahir Ashraf takes into contact. One of the biggest fly halves you'll see is Tan. Swung away by Vunimoko, and it's all a bit loose. As Fa'alu Penga, he decides to straighten it up, and it's one-upmanship at the moment. Now they get over the gain line, and what's Tim Baker seen there?
This is an interesting looking tackle that went in on Fa'alu Penga. I wonder whether it's a knock on. I'd like to see that again. Looked very, very suspiciously like a chop tackle.
Yes, we were discussing the chop tackle of recent times from a Korean player a couple of years ago. No, he's just gone in low there. So another chance for the Malaysians on the 10-metre line. Can they get these midfielders running hard and straight at the Korean defence? Especially O in number 10. He's got to be a target. Looks like a tight head. Scooting around the side there was Nur Ekwan trying to pilfer that one. Sneaky work.
Well, I mean, you know, option B, what do? Well, you just wait for it to come out the other end.
Oh, there it is. Same result.
There's a certain amount of logic to that I can respect.
They'll be living off scraps in those scrums, won't they? And there's a long way to go. Just 17 minutes into it, 8-0 Korea. Malaysia had their share of the ball, unable to break the line so far, except for a scrambling effort along the ground. And now Korea, that's a good touch finder. They're 8 metres inside the 22. And a chance for perhaps Korean back row to get in on the action here. There's a couple of them lurking. Jeep gets this one right. Kim Jeep. And truck and trailer. That's the international sign language for truck and trailer.
Well, that's possibly the first and last time they'll get to play that card today.
All a bit laboured, wasn't it? I mean, that's drill work from the training field. I'm not sure how long the Koreans have had in camp, especially getting the Japanese-based players back and having some time with them. The Malaysians have been together since October at the National Institute of Sports. They've been doing their nutrition, training twice a day, doing a lot of new stuff for them, the psychology, strength and conditioning. which they formerly have not had. So they've recognised this as an opportunity, and they've thrown everything at it, including the red carpet and the kitchen sink. Tan goes up, he can't get it. The much bigger Korean has just walked away with that rather easily. Jang shuffles it on, and just probing through goes Kim Jin Yok. Here goes this big young man, Kim. Gets tackled well though, nicely round the legs by Tan. It's good hands by some of the front rowers out there. They've got a bit of depth now, but straightening up. There's Lee Jin-kyu. Driven to the ground. There's a player that needs to roll. It's Shahir Ashraf, and the arm is out, and someone beckoning towards the referee. What's the bounce going to do here? And Lee Jai Bok coming through on that, as rapid as you like, but tidied up by Asmir. But we'll go back to the penalty. So not really fluid yet. I guess both teams just getting into their swing of things, Jed.
Well, 20 minutes in, I'm noticing three things. First of all, a tight head against Malaysia. The Koreans just pushed them straight off the ball. Then a crucial win at the line out. So that's 2 set pieces they've been beaten in. And now they're starting to walk. I don't blame them. I've been out the door twice into the heat, and I was walking straight away. So to tell there's a couple of signs there really that the Malaysians are struggling to hang in there. If they can see through this first quarter and then get back down the right end of the field, it could stay very much in shape for them. But I just wonder how long it will take the Koreans to work out where the obvious place to attack is, which is pretty much just straight up at the moment, and that opportunity to go wide. Send your flyers out there.
A lot of changes also in the coaching staff since the last Asia Rugby Championship, as O lines it up. Looks like he's nailed it. Yes, he has. So career 11, Malaysia 0. John Walters and Dion Muir no longer with or required by the Korean Rugby Union, and stepping up as the assistant coach. And he's had to carry on the good work that's been laid down by the New Zealanders, and you can see fingerprints of it over this performance so far. Their last outing, in fact, was against Hong Kong last year. And they went down 39 points to 3 in that final round of the ARC. So that's the last international rugby they've had. They turned down a tour to the north in November. And that's a good take in the air by Vunimoko, and he absolutely clatters in to the Korean winger there. Good cadence. Here's Fa'at Luapenga, and he's knocked it on in contact. Here come the Koreans, and kicking it deep is O. Chugging back goes Amarul Akil. He's got no one with him. Jang's there to meet him. And what can he do? He just wraps it up in 2 hands, and good supporting play from the Malaysians. Well done. And putting boot to ball is Rabibi. He goes deep off the left. Lee Jai Bok waits for it. Now it's this huge number 8, Lee Yong-sung. Hooks up again with Lee. That's good link work. This is Lee Hyun-soo. Links up with Lee again. 3 times in the movement. On the front foot, the Koreans. Kim Jin-hyuk. If they come left, the Malaysians are still tracking back. They're finally getting onside. They do look tired already, perhaps. That's a poor pass from O, and it slowed momentum. They keep going through Kim Ho-bom. 6 meters out now. Thought about reaching for the post, and they're still 2 meters out. Patience, Korea. Patience will do it. The big man, 130 kilos of Kang, gets stopped on the line. Good defence, Malaysia. Korea just need to be patient. And again, a man goes on his own. Has he done it? And I think rather than just getting together in a pod. They've gone one out on their own 2 or 3 times there, and they've cost themselves a try perhaps. But good defence from Malaysia.
Sensational return by the number 8 for Korea, wasn't it? Yong Sung Lee. He ran that ball back beautifully, and that's twice now the Koreans have been able to take some good yards and create scoring opportunities on that far side of the pitch from us in the commentary box. And they're just looking perhaps a little bit thin at the moment, the Malaysians, and I say it with a chuckle in my voice because, you know, I could be wrong, they could be getting their second win, but the Koreans here, I think they can sniff it. Well, it's free for all in there, isn't it? Probably a good call by Tim Baker to bring them back.
That's right, he was on the spot.
Crouch.
Dewey Rawlins not required yet with his finger on the button up there.
Sit. Hold. Steady.
And they will have the scrum though, and will they try and just push this over? Can they control it? Can the Malaysians keep their shape? It's Lee Yong Sung with the ball at the back. It's getting ugly. The arm is out. And it's a penalty. Oh, it's a penalty try. But O gets absolutely poleaxed when he thought he might have got the score. Tim Baker goes early. No warnings. Penalty try. Try number 2.
Well, we potentially could be looking at something that repeats a lot and a little bit dangerous at the end, let's be honest, but well, frustration, and when the Fijians feel frustrated, people tend to find themselves on their backs.
No conversion required.
So the risk of sounding like a broken record, that may not be the first time we see that today, Grant.
It's ominous, isn't it? And there's a long way to go. Malaysians making 22 tackles so far to the Koreans 18. The Koreans have gone 19 phases against the Malaysians 14. And unfortunately we can't see the number of line breaks there, but that's going to be telling. Do the Malaysians have the firepower to get through this Korean defence? Shahir Ashraf goes deep. And Lee Mung-gyun decides just to get out of town nice and early, nothing fancy, and they'll have a line out about 5 metres inside the Korean half.
Malaysia.
Copeland there,
How many?
the banker,
Full line.
joining Tim Baker, the former banker and former military man with the whistle. Australian born, Copeland. Another Kiwi on the far side, Tung Chung Terra. Lawrence Wilkinson, they go to the front this time. Nothing crazy. Shahir fires another wide one, not giving their midfield a chance. Straight out to the fullback, Amarul Akil, taking in a good tackle. Presents it nicely. They're lining up the big men. It's Nathaniel Tan again. He loses it in contact. There's got to be 4 or so lost in contact, so possession, security of the ball not so good. This man's been busy. Lee Jun-kyu so far, 13 for Korea. Several carries. As they trundle their way up to the halfway line. The hands are up, they're waiting, they're eager. This is Kim Ho-bum.
Hands up.
2 metres of him crashing to the ground. And goodness me, Lee Hyung-sung there with the unforced error and a shocking kick off the left foot, a real comedy of errors there, and that's going nowhere, so we'll have a scrum.
We're picking up Korea's ability to play the game a lot flatter. The passes seem to have a little bit more zip on it. That was a, well, he's just dropped that cold, unfortunately. They might be able to throw the old excuse card of it's sweaty, a little bit of sun in the eyes, maybe some breeze.
The other thing was, though, he was just standing still, and the Koreans, so far, they don't look very fluid in the phase play. They're getting reasonably quick ball. It's coming back quick. The Malaysians are slow to get back, and they're just not coming on to the ball on the second, third, fourth phases and just attacking the line. And that's making it a little bit easy for the Malaysian defence. Look at that scrum, and I don't know how Malaysia managed to get it out, but they do.
First man there, all right.
It's Vinny Moko who rescues it at the back, and eventually they get there, and it's been lost again in contact, this time for Alua Penga. And Jang chasing hard up against Oman.
I think he might have got in there.
Let's have a look.
That's remarkable. If he's come from behind and taken that, and Dowie Rollins will be getting a good look at this. Now, this is a sensational piece of work. Right, there doesn't appear to be anything on this, but then the old rugby ball kicks into gear and just does whatever it likes. And look at this. That's a try.
Oh, yes. There's a little bit of finger on there, isn't there? That
Check those feet to make sure they're legit, and that's pace. That's genuine pace. Look at this. Ooh. Where was that trailing foot?
And he looks confident. Oman says go upstairs. He didn't make an attempt at all, Oman. He was just trying to block the ball.
Look at that. No, I think he's well in. I think those feet are fine. They're still smoking. He was going that hot.
Flames coming out the back. Oman there just had to dive on the ball. Watch him here. He tries to shield the ball instead of just lunging at it.
Oh.
Dowie Rollins.
Well,
not being challenged really on this.
Glad I'm not the TMA. I think this might go the way of Malaysia. If Dowie doesn't want to walk home tonight.
No try.
No try!
He'll be on the bus, ladies and gentlemen.
Foot and touch.
He's on the bus, the air-conditioned bus.
Foot and touch.
With the ice water.
And the Koreans are doing the old trick of just waiting back in their own half, hoping that will swing opinion, but it hasn't. So the Hong Kong quartet of match officials, they've got it right. And just the second season we're having TMOs and replays in this competition, and it's paid itself off right there. Not a clutch moment, but these things can change games.
Well, no, it could have been. We could have been looking at 23-0. It would have been a fairly important score, but my word, he's got some pace, hasn't he?
30 minutes gone.
Great work at the line-out.
This time they decide to try to bully the Koreans a little, and that's what they need to do. Just try and get the forwards dominated a little. The Koreans have had a bit of a free run in the forwards so far.
Okay, next one, Malaysia.
Nur Ikwan fishes it out, finds his skipper Shahir Asraf, doesn't find touch. Jang comes up, gives it to Lee Jai Bok, tries to take on the big eight, who's all over him. Sorry, that was Rabibi. Flings him to the ground and looks like he's won the penalty. Yes, he has. Terrific bit of defence. And here go Malaysia. They've got their towels up. Shahir Asraf. No one knows what he's doing. They're all standing around. That's Amarul Mukminin, the hooker. It's creative play, but in the end, perhaps a kick for touch would have been better there to peel off about 30-40 metres and take the line out. Now they're going deep again, and not for the first time. Amarul Akil chugs back, lines up his trusty left boot and drills it low and hard to about 13 metres inside their own half. Kicks in play there, interesting statistic. 9 for Korea, 5 for Malaysia. 14 kicks in play in this first 32 minutes. Korea now with a few midfielders made up by the back row, lurking. And just can't control it this time. Kim Jong-yuk and a let off for Malaysia. Handling errors now creeping up. That's 5 for Korea, 3 for Malaysia. I suspect there's perhaps a few more than 3 for the Malaysians.
Good work last scrum.
Here they go again. They've won the scrum, but
Crouch.
there'll be no mercy shown by this massive front row. And again, they go early. That's just ill discipline from the Koreans. They don't need to do that. They don't need the early shunt, and they're giving away easy penalties, which they don't need to do, and they're just not keeping the pressure on Malaysia.
Well, as you alluded to before, those pack weights, you know, Malaysia at 791 kilos, Korea in total control at 868 kilos. It's a massive difference in international rugby, and that ball's not gone out, which is a real no-no. All of a sudden, Malaysia under the pump.
General collision, play on.
That's another error, isn't it?
Where you are?
Lee Jai Bok going down in a screaming heat, threw his hands in the air, but Tim Baker not falling for that one. Get up, mate. He's still writhing around. Baker says play on. As the medic comes rushing out, there are players literally all over the field now.
Backwards.
As Rabibi sets off downfield. And they pile into this, the Koreans. They've turned it. As Lee Jai Bok still squirms on the ground. This time it's Kang Jin-gu pops one over the top.
Release, Korea.
And the forwards, the Korean forwards are just standing there, not chasing.
Hold. Back
So
foot.
two hot and bothered tired teams out there perhaps, as Tuwalia does his bit to try and take it up the lock. Lee still down way in backfield as the Malaysians just struggling with basic ruck play. The ball on the ground is very slow. And Shahir Ashraf manages to get it away. It's not out again. There's a Malaysian down there as well. There's a bit of traffic going on. Here comes Kang Jin-gu. He gets absolutely minced.
Wow.
Into the dirt he goes.
He'll be absolutely filthy about the man that gave him that pass, the winger, who really wasn't looking at what he was doing. Generally, the intention of a pass is to give it to someone in a better position. And in that case, he did. He gave it to a bloke in a better position to get hammered. Let's look at that.
The head goes
They
back.
will be watching that one online for the next week and a half.
And I'm sure the Hong Kong
What's going on?
rugby team will be watching this, if not live, and at some point during this week as their build up, they'll be coming here next weekend. Same time, same place, same bat channel for round 2. And
Poor old O. You got the oh no.
oh no.
Crouch.
He's up though, and so is Lee Jai Bok. He's back to fullback
You're folding in again. Last chance.
into the last 4 minutes as we have another scrum. And the Koreans, have they learnt their lesson? Just hold the line.
Crouch.
It'll be interesting to
Fine.
see. Look at the size difference up front.
Sit.
It's remarkable.
42 kilo difference in that front row alone. Off the back comes Winimoku. Tries to get out of the tackle of Kim Hyun-soo. He holds on to the bootlaces, pulls him down. That's nearly the quickest ball the Malaysians have had, and that wasn't very fast at all. Lee Jai Bok back to full strength. Gets clattered in the air by Azmir. And breaking through now. Good line break by Kim Jun-hyuk. There's no one with him. Everyone's back about 30 metres. The Koreans are sloppy at the moment. Here comes Kim Jeep over the 22. But there's only 2 forwards. Everyone else is lurking.
Let it go.
And they deserve to lose it almost.
No clear release.
Just
And then you're falling
for
straight on
the
it.
lethargic effort
Number 10
there.
off his feet.
And there's a lot of hands on heads and players bending over. And what kind of a second half are we going to have? And maybe wisely going for the post Korea.
Yeah, why not? I mean, they've got total control over the phases at the moment. There's no need to go out and get crazy about it. If they can just keep pushing the points on, the scoreboard builds enough pressure on the minds of the Malaysians, the game will start falling apart like that. They're already starting to see the local players down on their haunches. They're finding it hot. They're finding it hard. Everything's being contested. And the Koreans, well, if they can just find a rhythm that they can work through the rest of the match with, it could be easily adding points every sort of 5 or 6 minutes.
Ball's falling over.
Well, a massive gust of wind probably from the commentary box.
How was the buffet last night? Oh, nails it. No problem. So the score lingered for 10 minutes on 18. Now how they push out to 21 as we close in on this into this first half. One of the interesting stats that the referees pay a lot of attention to is the average time in phase play, the breakdown, and 3 seconds is about average that they try and look for.
Malaysia,
It's
Malaysia.
a metric that they say is a measure of how well they are not only officiating, but of course how the teams are playing. And I would say that the turnover or the phase play here we're seeing is much slower than that, especially for the Malaysians. It is incredibly slow. That one stayed in field. Can they cook something from halfway? Amarul Akil is dawdling around and gets confronted by 5 blue shirts, and he's done well to keep hold of that. Shahir fires it wide. Now, can they put on some footwork? This is Amin. He's done well. Again, gone there, and perhaps wasn't expecting the pass back inside, but a bit of footwork from him.
Certainly seeing fatigue or signs of in this Malaysian outfit at the moment. Even the ability to get back and support the runner or the ball carrier, or be some sort of distraction on attack. Finding it hard to get around the pitch at the moment, the home side.
Yes, home ground advantage doesn't really matter much. If you talk about the weather, and the Malaysians saying that the Koreans will struggle here, everybody's struggling. I don't think anyone gets used to this, especially not playing sports. Hard enough just walking around town. Oh, now goes deep. Hard working fullback Amarul Akil gets back for this one. He'll just be hoping it goes dead. It doesn't. Will drop into the dead ball area. There's the hooter, and he nudges it out. Tim Baker says that'll do us for half time. It hasn't reached its maximum peak yet. Hasn't been very fluid. It's 21-0, 2 tries to 0. We'll take a half-time break. Be back with some stats and highlights for you shortly.
Yeah, hello.
go with a few highlights from the first half. Jed, talk us through this.
Well, great work on the far sides, open up the channel out wide for this man, and he made no mistake at all. Just vanishing pace. First of all, he had to work through the prop forward, not a big effort. Good ball from the lock, look at that. But look, he's actually got acres of room here. He sized it up beautifully, covering defence, not balanced. And really, it was an indication of what Korea can do fairly early on. I actually thought it was going to come a lot steadier than this, but they've been made to work, if through another reason than their own ill-discipline.
That's right, and here was a near miss that at first look we thought was a try.
Just remarkable pace again by the man out wide. He can absolutely fly, can't he, Jang? Who would have thought that kick was going to result in this sort of drama? It was beautifully weighted.
It was a foot in touch was the call. He had actually grounded it by all accounts. So that was the only real other opportunity. They have tested the line, earned themselves a penalty try from a scrum with no warning from Tim Baker, and there are some of the stats. Lots of tackles, lots of phases, but the handling errors are costing both these sides, and just the fluidity and fitness, perhaps conditioning, they don't look like they're up to this heat. And the lights are on for the second half as the players come back on the field. It's a great atmosphere down here at the National Stadium. Got to be 5,000 or 6,000 people here as the Malaysians are led out by their skipper Shahir Asraf. Tom Jones is going around the PA system. It's ubiquitous, isn't it? Tom Jones, Neil Diamond, any tournament around the world. And more applause as they come out. They're trailing by 21 points to 0 though. And everything to play for in this series, and it's gonna 6 weeks of games. These 2 games in Malaysia, followed by 2 games at Incheon in Korea, followed by final 2 games in Hong Kong to decide who will represent Asia against the Cook Islands on June 30th and July 7th, a home and away affair. The winner of that match will proceed to the repechage where Canada awaits. And there'll be one other team from Africa and one from Europe for a shot at that 20th spot in Japan 2019. So at the moment, both these teams in with a shot at playing in the World Cup. But playing like they did that first 40 minutes, they haven't set the world on fire, and will be sympathetic. First game of the tournament, crucially hot, excruciatingly hot, and maybe a little bit of sweat on the ball, but some players going to have to stand up from both these sides and take control. The game is really there for the taking for the Koreans, and Malaysia just going to try and hang in there and get a few scores of their own. Underway we go. It's Shahir Asraf, deep again, not troubling the Koreans. And there's this wicked flanker, Kim Hyun-soo. He's a great ball runner. Gives it up to his number 8, Lee. And this is good early stuff from the Koreans. They've got numbers to burn out wide. Look out, there's a couple of Fijian-born players waiting for you as Lee Jai-bok decides to take them on and gets flung like a rag doll to the ground. So that's one phase. Here comes Kim Jeep, the hooker. They need some continuity now. They will score if they can just hold the ball for a number of phases. Kang, Tae-hon, coming round the corner, too slow. There's the big number 7, sorry, Jang Seok-hwan. We haven't seen a lot of him. And there's a card from Baker. What was that for, Jed?
Well, it's signalling offside. I think it was fairly intentional, and rightly so, because the replay might show the lack of availability for defenders for Malaysia. So I think our man's gone and fallen on his sword on behalf of his team. At least he'd prop Sani.
So 10 minutes on the naughty chair for him. No hesitation from Tim Baker, very assertive, going straight for the penalty try in the first half, straight to the yellow there. There is the Korean coach.
Tremendous breakout though, wasn't it, by Korea? Exactly the way to start the first half. I see there's a medical team on the field too in background. as the Malaysians change their pack to compete at scrum time.
Well, that early run from Kim Hyun-soo, the number 6, he is an unbelievable player.
Goodness me.
Last year in the ARC, you recall the Kepco players unavailable for the first game or two. They decided to go on tour just during the middle of a series. And when they came back, those 3 in the back row made all the difference. They're world class. And they're reasonably good at sevens as well. They are that athletic. It's the big lock though, Nathaniel Tan, who was motored over there by Kim.
Well, it'll be interesting. I mean, and we're at an absolute first here as well, an historic game of rugby for Asia, as this is the first international in the Asian Rugby Championship to be running the HIA protocol. So one would think that he might even get a head injury assessment there, because there's certainly some damage.
That's right, head injury assessment, of course. He's actually going off for that assessment. He'll be going through the months of the year backwards. Have you ever tried that?
They asked me a few questions last night.
You failed the HIA.
I think they were pretty keen to call the ambulance at the end of it.
Here go the Koreans. Patience required. They were rewarded for a penalty try in the first half. Good tackle from the big number 8 there, Vunimoku. He saved a certain try there. And how they kept that scrum together, I'll never know.
Good call by 8. Let's take him in there again. Really putting the clampers on them now, and exactly as they should be doing, Korea, on this side of the half. They should be not sparing any mercy at all. Scored before the half, score after the half, dominate the game. It's looking fairly solid for Korea.
They did incredibly well not to concede a penalty at minimum there. Players coming off the scrum there as it buckled. And you can imagine the Koreans being able to really open the floodgates in the second half if they can get some phases going.
So referee Baker will be out there with the all-famous blue card now.
The blue card?
Yeah, for the HIA. You can pull the blue card out and send players off to have their heads, well, assessed. I've assessed a few heads on the screen already. There's no one very pretty.
Here we go, 5 metres out. They go for the same tactic. Surely it will pay dividends. They go early. Oh, they've absolutely butchered that one. Shahir comes through, and O goes back and saves the day. Gets flung around, and a big tackle coming in. Huge hit coming in from Rabibi. Puts them back in their own half now. Somehow they secure it. Here goes Jang Jong-min, the speedster. Tries to get on the outside. Flings it inside to Lee Mung-yun. And it comes to an end there. And Korea just unable to go that last metre again.
Well, that opening salvo from the Koreans. I'm too surprised if Hong Kong coach Lee Jones putting the highlighter through the names that we mentioned in the first few minutes, but that's possibly a good way of summing up this Korean side, even from last year and the years that we have been watching them. Plenty of ability, plenty of potential, explosive beyond extreme, but do have this fairly rough edge about them. Error-ridden at times, ill-disciplined as well. No wonder they call them the Italians of Asia.
John Walters calls them the Polynesians of Asia.
All same thing, I think.
Physique-wise. Here they come again. Coming in to stand off to take the first ball receiver is Lee. And he's thrown that one forward as Lee Jai Bok scoots away towards the post. A bit of a shake of the head there. But Tim Baker, the best ref in Asia, according to Eddie Jones. That pass was fine.
Goodness me. On replay, it looked even worse, to be honest.
Well, that was a nice move. But blatantly forward. So a let off for the Malaysians. And a chance for some fireworks. Fizzed out once more. Five minutes gone. Malaysia with one in the bin. Koreans, will they be more disciplined on defensive scrums? That time, yep. Not going here. They're going in for the shove. They're on thin ice with Tim Baker. Shahir plugs it down. And a lucky bounce into the hands of Kang Jung-gu. That could have gone anywhere. And it's Sloppy Joe again. The crowd absolutely applauding anything they can grasp onto here. Not much to cheer about except the Korean mistakes.
Well, they're almost willing their team back into action. The Korean mistakes, creating the opportunity for the team to move down the field. They may not be doing it using continuity. Or maybe they are using Asian continuity on the era. But listen to this audience.
Tough call by Baker. Looked to go backwards, but an error nonetheless. They look like a team that's been thrown together, Jed. Good scrum again from the Koreans. It gets towed through by the nippy little Lee in 9. And he chases well, tries to bring down the big man on the 22, and he just holds him up. Oh, that gets the crowd on their feet. Toying with the Korean defence, this huge man. They're way behind the gain line though. That's good line speed by the Korean defence. Going in hard is Lee Jin-kyu in 13. A rare bit of ball for the Malaysians, and again it's been dropped. It's got to be several of those so far, and it's lickety-split. It's all over the place. Both sides not doing anything to bring any shape back into this game. And a bit of a scuffle there. I'm surprised they've got the energy for that, Jed.
Well, it's the temperament that we spoke of earlier. I think he might get some look at that tackle there. That's super play by the Korean prop. Comes in and drops the ball carrier fairly immediately. Probably no need to put the hands on poor old O. He's already been rattled up twice so far in the game. He doesn't really look like physically too much of a threat.
It may have done its job though. He does look rattled since that early big hit he got on him. He's thrown a few loose ones. He's dropped a few off the base of the scrum that have come out his way. And a broken plate, he looks a little bit off his game. So
I think Kang Jung-gu will not be on the Christmas card list this year after that pass.
Here they come out to the open side. Here goes Jang. Can he get on the outside? I think he's going to get on the outside.
Great wheels.
Denied a try earlier. That would have been his hat-trick, but it's a brace and said for Jang Jong-min, and a little bit more daylight on that donut now.
Well, not a lot really. I mean, it's just a straight hands play. Far too quick. And that's all really Korea have got to do. They've just got to play the basics and execute them well. Good ball out wide under a bit of pressure, but they can finish.
Kavidi there, just not having the pace of Jang.
I'm not sure if anyone in the stadium does, to be fair.
And it's so easy when it's done right. It's an easy game made look difficult, they say. Malaysia tackle count getting up 37 tackles. And the crowd putting the gilly on O, doing their part. Not this time. He's nailed that one. That's a beautiful conversion.
Sensational conversion.
And he applauds the crowd there rather belligerently, a la Andrew Merton style. An ironic clap to the crowd. And then he says, hey, calm it. So will that settle? Will that settle the nerves? Will that change anything, Jed? Try number 2 is on the board. Try number 3, sorry. The penalty try.
Well, I think it probably will. Let's just take a look at this next sort of 10-minute period, and will tell us a lot about how the game will end.
And there is O, taking some of his own medicine and calming it down, getting it about 5 metres short of the halfway. As we look at a scoreline now of 28 points to 0. 10 minutes gone in this first half, and there's some subs coming on from Malaysia. who are still down to
Come
14
over,
men.
Korea.
Well, be interesting to see where Malaysia go to here.
How many, Malaysia?
Used a couple of cute tricks and tactics
man.
early on to neutralise some of the Korean plays. Tried their best to slow the Koreans down.
Good contest for the
Seen
ball. Back foot, red.
Koreans
Malaysia.
starting to dominate, creep in at set piece time.
Release.
This could be
Onside push.
a very, very dangerous 10 minutes coming up for Malaysia.
There goes Kang over the halfway. He trundles. Looking lively is Lee Myung-jun. And that seems to have been a bit of a wasted kick. However, depends on the return. There's Kim over the top there in 6. He is a vulture.
Hold, Malaysia.
They get away with it though. Stick it deep. Down to Lee Jai Bok.
Korea
He returns
move.
it, and look at those players
Move.
just
Playing advantage.
waltzing back. There's the
Ball
indecision.
offside.
Those players, yes, out wide
You've
there, have
advanced.
not
You haven't
retreated.
stopped. Number 4, advancing.
That's incredibly lazy. They have plenty of time to get back there.
Well, just good work by the AR to keep his head up field and take a look at that formation from the Korean side,
Number
but
4 never stopped advancing,
It is.
shutting down the options.
pretty lax sort of stuff from Korea.
Offside.
Even just the effort to jog back 5 metres would have been enough.
And that's not the best kick of the night by
We're carrying on.
Shahir Asraf. He's gone
We're
perpendicular.
carrying on.
He's made it out though. There's a Korean
That
back
man
plate
there.
clutching at his
Number
head.
9, sub.
There he is.
Looks like a bit of cramp there. No one likes cramp.
Hold the ball.
Certainly a bad thing to get cramp in front of people.
On comes Shin Kichol
Time's up.
from the Posco Club in 21. 72 centimetres. And they keep the man lying on the field there. Not sure he's the one being substituted.
Red
Here's
7.
the last try again.
Red 7, sub.
Just a nice simple left though. That was the one that mattered there. Not 100% sure why the Malaysian winger came off his man.
And there's a stretcher up for cramp. It's the scrum half. Yeah, scrum half. Lee Min-jun. He's been a live wire. He's done his job, you would say, in this match. Been pretty steady.
Well, that's a disappointing way to come from the field. But it's hot. We both know it's hot. Grant?
That's world class
Time on.
medical
Full
work
line
there,
out,
right
Malaysia.
there.
Yeah, that's top stretcher work.
Saw them warming up earlier with a mannequin and never thought they'd get the chance to strut their stuff. But here we go again. 50 minutes gone in this match. Malaysia desperate to get something on the board in front of this very supportive crowd that they have.
Backwards off Korea.
People are still coming in late into this game. It's messy, but the Malaysians tidy up.
Well,
Earn themselves a penalty.
leave
Going quickly
Onside.
is Vunimoko. That's a tremendous run from the Big Eight. They're on the front foot now. Can they keep the momentum going? Oh, that one should have been taken a little bit low, but each pass just seems...
Caught off Malaysia.
Well, welcome Malaysia to the top tier of Asian rugby. This is the learning experience in motion. It's the reason why they've been working so hard, is to get out here in the field and learn how it's done. Korea's certainly not sparing them any quarter. They've got to really button down here, almost go into autopilot mode and just get stuck into it, particularly these 8 Malaysian forwards. If anyone's going to
Crouch.
help creep a line
Bang.
or a pathway to the line, it's going to have to come from up front. If they can get some front foot ball for a few of these big backs, they'll give them some targets to hit. Korea, I think, if they can just settle down in their minds and get the plays nice and straight, they'll earn some more points.
Joe Bok there opting for the kick through, keeps it in play and gets a net gain of about 30 metres. as we saw the substitution there by Malaysia. Number 20, Sharif Azwan, coming on for the flanker in 7 unmen. And Malaysia back to 15 players as well. Talk about the build-up that the Malaysians had. They went down to Auckland, played Papatoetoe RFC and drew 31 all in their last match. Before that, they went down to Northcote, 41-21, lost to North Harbour as well. Great experience for them going down there. The coach Lee Nukfar, interesting character himself. He's in the Air Force from 1980 to 2002. National team prop from 82 to 95. Then he coached the national team from 98 to 2000, and he's back in 2014. He's been doing well with this Malaysian side, and this will be a great experience for him and his Chargers. Win or lose, the aim will be to grow throughout the series as the Koreans come back and just going to the boot more and more now, trying to play the territory game. Fullback Amrul Akili's had a lot to do, and he hasn't really squeezed a lot out of that one. 4 or 5 metres, so right on the 22 there, Lawrence Wilkinson, the Tung Chung Terror, with his flag up and a chance for Korea with an attacking line out.
I like the way Korea are going about it here. They don't have to score off every set piece. They don't have to score off every try. They've got to get their rhythm. It's a good way of doing it by parking Malaysia up in their own quarter.
Here they go. Kim Jun-guk with the initial thrust. Replacement scrum half Shin Kichol gets it up to this lanky Kim Ho-bom. 6 or 7 metres out. This is where they failed several times before. Just the finishing. And players on the wrong side, they're on the ground. Tim Baker's concerned. He takes a knee, and oh, look at that work from the medic sliding in there. Looks like a head injury if Baker's seen something. Let's have a look.
I'm not a doctor, okay?
Oh,
you know
yes. Oh, dear, head on head.
Oh,
And funnily enough, the Fijian is left sitting up.
that's the fullback, Amrul Akil. He's done a lot of work tonight. He's probably run the most metres out of everyone, and most of it without the ball. There is Lee, the coach, charismatic fella. Good seeing props in control of national teams. So this will be another opportunity for the HIO. There is the blue
There
card.
it is, the blue card, indeed, as we spoke of earlier. Well, it's a busy old day for the HIA team. Just check this out. This is, yeah, well, that is a very, very hard lesson to learn in a lot of ways.
Pun intended.
Well, if anything, you'll still get the tick for the tackle,
Yeah, and
although
well,
he may not remember the day.
a little sympathy for the Koreans as well. Just building up some steam there, head of steam, and having all the momentum once more. Desperately looking to finish one of those phases off. And why don't you join us on Facebook? Go to Asia Rugby at Facebook. Like us, follow us, and share your thoughts with the news. Also, we're on Instagram and Twitter. We're at Asia Rugby. And it'd be good to see you. And keep the comments coming on the old Facebook. Too many of them in Korean, Jed, really, to make much sense of it today.
Yes, I think the next spelling bee champion is going to come from Malaysia.
There's a lot of Bahasa and Korean comments. Keep them coming if you're joining us anywhere around the world.
Absolutely fine. It's good. It's an international game. Delighted to have you joining us either through traditional means or in the new way, this digital era.
This Facebook thing, it'll never take off. Talking about the build-up of the Malaysians, they had a couple of warm-up games during April here at the stadium. They played one of the local clubs. I was talking to a friend of mine who actually played in that game. The club side played against the Malaysians. Now, he's 48 years old, and he's probably listening, watching right now. And he said they lost 35-5 playing the national team. A great day coming down here by bus, playing at the national stadium. And he said he thought that the Malaysian national team should beat a club side by a lot more than 35 points, but that's part of their build-up. And you could say this is also part of their progress through the tournament. So they'll have Hong Kong here next week. That'll be another tough assignment. World ranked 21. And they'll play here at the same time. And I'm sure Hong Kong eager to get out the blocks. They're in good shape. Got a big squad. They're growing their squad. A lot of new players coming through. And we'll be back for that one.
Be very interesting, but another great opportunity for Malaysia to be learning what it takes to live and breathe in the top rungs of Asian rugby. This learning curve is pretty abrupt, it's pretty vicious, but if they can just hold themselves, hold their composure over the next 4 weeks, one would think the birth of a new rugby power, as we see them cheering from the stands.
It's an old union, the Malaysian Rugby Union, founded in 1927. But rugby's been played here since the late 1800s. Generally the British Navy coming through, arranging games. They have about 10,000 registered players, 55,000 players in total. Compare that to Korea's 1,000 registered players and 10,000 unregistered. Quite a big following here. It's great seeing such a big crowd down here, and these are paying customers here. They've been paid, all the seats are paid for, so that's a lesson perhaps to some of the other unions that struggle to get a few hundred along, even when it's free. Here we go then, Korea still looking for that elusive try through the forwards. Jang scored 2. There's been a penalty try. You could put that down to the forwards maybe, but here they come. Oh, this time holds it. And again, they've butchered it. It's good defence though. See coming out the line there, the Malaysians, good line speed. And it was Gavidi and Rabibi again, 12 and 13. They have snuffed out a handful of opportunities. But there was nothing planned, was there, by the Korean backs? They were just putting it through the hands, put each under pressure. There was no real move on.
Well, it's time to do up the boot. Yeah, it's a bit of a concern, really. Korea, they'll have to be making much better decisions against than that when they play teams of the quality of Hong Kong. I don't expect them to have too many visits, or as many visits to the 22 as they have had today. But if Korea are working on combinations, maybe that would be the excuse you could run. However, Malaysia, they're just doing enough to remain, how would you say, pesky.
Outside of hiding. Some of the benches, the Malaysian bench warming up. How long before we start to see some of those players, especially with the heavy legs out there with both sides.
Stay.
Korea sniping down the blind through Na Kwon Yung from Kubota Club. Good contest on the ground there. Koreans really haven't dominated this forward battle. They've had the weight on in the packs, but at the breakdown, they've struggled to impose themselves on the Malaysians. These 4 players coming in from Japan have not really raised the level a whole lot, I would suggest. It's slow. It comes out to O. Still trying to look for that line break. They lose it forward. Here's something cooking for the Malaysians. The big men running upright, getting the arms free. And advantage over. Now it's Korea's chance with a bit of advantage. Here goes O, straightens up down the middle, makes a couple of good yards. This is Shin Ki-chol. He's been a live wire since coming on. Liu Jin-shok gets it over halfway. The big NEC player. Shin again. And look how slow this ball is again, and this time it's because there's a hand in there.
You were fine.
It's a good 5 or 6 seconds to come out.
Back.
No one's really taking the line on, are they? They're just putting it through the hands. No one seems to be willing from the Korean back line to set a target and get the forwards blowing smoke up their backsides with a bit of go forward. And it's almost like sevens, really.
Well, I think things are a little bit more organised than the Korean pack. That channel has been 100% closed there, unfortunately, but the Malaysians just surviving now on individual efforts. It's quite noticeable after that break down the centre field that both the men that helped create the go forward there were left behind, down on their knees, sucking in the big ones. So unless the Malaysian bench is going to get the full workout, which I'm pretty sure it will, could be some very, very big cracks coming in the Malaysian defence in the next few minutes.
He's a real superstar on the bench down there for Korea. Number 23, Jang Seong-min, who we've got to know over the last few years in 7s, 15s. One of the super athletes in the squad. He's just taken a contract with NTT Docomo in Japan. It's good to see him down there in the blue shirt. Let's hope he gets a run.
Going backwards.
And again, it's Messi towing it through. Goes number 9, Nur Ikwan, and it trundles over the line there. That's good work from the 9. He's out there on his own, leading the charge as the substitutions come. It's 16, Nur Usman. He's getting a huge round of applause.
Well, they're fired up. They're in the 22. Coming down here for some time. This is where the Japanese-based players for the Koreans should really come into their own.
The line-out's gone awry. That's a terrible shame for the Malaysians. If you're counting seconds in the opposition 22, they probably haven't made a minute yet. They've earned a penalty though. Everyone's pointing to the corner. They're going to put some faith in that line-out for a second shot.
Well, they've got a few trick plays, I imagine, Malaysia. I wouldn't be too surprised to see a few fakes down the back and then the short ball straight to the front.
And they're having a bit of a conference there, deciding which one of the trick shots they're going to pull out of the cupboard. I'm sure Coach Lee has armed them with a couple of cheeky moves that props like to come up with in the late hours in the bars. The substitute hooker, Nur Usman, got to get this one right. They've gone to the back.
Well
They've done
taken.
it. They're straight through the middle.
What a try.
Malaysia are over, and this crowd are on their feet. Look at that elation pouring out for the players. There's high fives and back slaps, and you were right, Jed. They had a move on, and Lee is unmoved.
Well, Bradley Meeker in the picture there. It's well, they've opened that gap beautifully. And Koreans are all ball watching. Probably there it is, the gap beautifully arranged. It's well executed. My word, for a team out on their feet, they've done that beautifully.
He came at that with a head of steam, didn't he? Winimoku. There's the arms in the air. Of course. What a moment here at your national stadium. So it'll be the replacement. Arif Sazri with the crack at 2 more points, and I'm guessing that even 2 points will raise the roof here
Why not?
at the Bukit Jalil National Stadium. First game of rugby on this field ever. 98 Commonwealth Games did feature the 7s, but they weren't played here. I think the crowd tells the story. Wonderful support for their boys down here by the Malaysians.
There it goes again. That's beautifully set up. And really, there were not too many Koreans interested in getting in the way of that man progressing. Number 8 for Korea, Lee, he just took another step to the left.
The old turnstile.
Whoops-a-daisy. Didn't see that guy coming.
So their first try in the top tier of Asia Rugby congratulations to them. Now they've got to keep building. They've got 4 games, 3 more games to keep building. And that is a massive kick from his own touchline. Here come the Koreans. There's the try scorer. Oh, and unfortunately for the Koreans, that has been knocked on cold by Gavidi. Crowd really getting behind their players now. There's a spring in their step. It's amazing what a try will do for a side. Good defence. They keep it in. The crowd applauding everything here. The counter-rucking, the tackling, and they feel they've done their part in helping with a turnover as well. Just reward for the crowd. And more players down with cramp.
Well, the adrenaline might be starting to pump now. What are they? Goodness gracious me, here we go. Fantastic stuff from the fans.
There he is, number 23. Just mentioned him, Jang Seong-min, on for a run. He's got 18 minutes. When he touches the ball, things happen, and he's bulked up since he's been in Japan as well. He is an excitement machine. And you look at him, you'd be forgiven for thinking he's a second rower. He's tall, about 186, 100 kilos. And he's just lurking down the back of the line out there. But it's a Malaysian feed. Narazman threw that ball beautifully for the try just moments ago. Can't get this one right, but it goes their way to the Malaysians. They make 4 or 5 metres off the back. Coming around the back, round the corner, come the forwards. They set a target in midfield. There's more purpose now. If they can just hold the ball for several phases, see what happens. See what the Korean defence looks like after several phases. Another very low effort there coming in from Kim Jun-hyuk. That's a knee buster. And there it is, over the head. Poor pass. The Koreans don't seem to know what to do with it when they force the turnover like that. They stand around. Someone's just got to put their head down. Jang this time. Scored 2. Look at those tackles. 50 tackles by the Malaysians, and that's why they've limited the Koreans to 28 a field.
Probably also while they're spread across the park.
Red 22.
Gasping.
Red 22 is midfield.
Last time
22.
these teams met, Jet, was 1996. And on that day, Korea 112, Malaysia 5. Things have moved on, obviously. 22 years ago, the stadium wasn't even built.
Number 1.
The Malaysians and the Koreans, a bunch of amateurs.
The Rugby back from HIA, he's been cleared.
Incredible. Also coming on, number 17 is Farid. So it'll be a Korean feed just inside the halfway there. They've had no trouble in the scrums except on defence when they've gone in early a few times. Can they launch something off this platform? It's a crime if they can't. It's slow, but there it is. Here comes O. Looks like he's going to chip again. And it's just a little bit deep. Well taken. Well taken by Asmir. And good on the return. The crowd is behind him. There's the halfway. Sorry, that's the halfway. Another wasted kick though from Korea. Defence comes in. In hard comes Kim Ho-bum. There's some numbers out there. Shari sees it. So here, good desperation tackle though from Jang. And they're just swinging it from side to side. I'd like to see someone just straighten it up. One of the big men there. There we see Gavidi with the ball on the 10 metre. Snaffled though by the Koreans. Good work from Cha Sung-kun. Good pilfering work. It's all over the place now. Here's Kim Ho-bum again.
Release.
There's a war of attrition out there now.
Playing advantage, knock on.
65 minutes. Here come the Malaysians now. 3 or 4 turnarounds in this phase alone. This patch of play. Straight through the middle goes the big number 8, the try scorer. All over him is Kim Jeon-hyuk. Finally gets him to ground. The Koreans are slow getting back. They're all over the place in back play. And appealing for the early tackle, although he had knocked it on, I think, before the tackle came in. So interesting call, and a yellow by the looks of it. Baker goes to the pocket. Have a look at this.
Early tackle.
Marginal, but Baker was right there in real time.
Well, they've added some real atmosphere to this game, haven't they? This is exactly what any home team would be after. Excited fans willing you on, making the heart pump. And just look at the bodies from Korea. Well, it says everything there, doesn't it? Hands on knees, heads bowed over. Find themselves a long way from home when that Malaysian crowd cranks through the gears. It's remarkable.
Now, I don't understand this decision, Jed, to take 3 points at this point of the game. Earlier on, yes, maybe in the first few minutes they turned away a penalty, but now trailing by a considerable margin, and they're on the front foot. The Koreans down to 14. I would have thought the line out, which they scored off maybe 5-6 minutes ago. What do you think?
Well, Grant, from our privileged position here on the commentary box, they basically did what we thought they should do. They wouldn't do it, and they've maintained that consistency right through the game. So,
Park Jong-yeol, 10 minutes on the naughty chair. It was marginal, but it's a matter of inches, isn't it? So the kick is over, and the crowd doesn't care.
Possibly the word has come in from the tight forwards that 90 seconds of breather would be actually pretty beneficial for everyone at this point.
So slotted by Sharif Aswan, and they are into double figures, and don't the crowd love it? Every point they get is almost like a bonus point for them. They trail though, 28 points to 10. And Korea will see out most of the rest of this game with the 14 men, and that has sailed out on the full, not going Korea's way at all.
Well, the body language of the Koreans says a lot to me at the moment, and if they manage to get themselves down the park for another sniff at it, Malaysia could really open the taps. Whatever they've got left, it could be all coming on the field. And Korea, as we said before, when they just calm down, stick to the, well, just the basics.
Coming on for Malaysia in 21 is Rosman Nizam. Scrum on halfway. The backs are split.
Bind.
2 to the right, 3 to the
Sit.
left.
Hold.
They go to the right. The little chip again from Shahir. Looking for a nice bounce, and Lee Jai-bok has judged that very well. Brave work by the man. Unconventional,
Thank you.
but puts the Malaysians back in their own half. Good strong run back by Falu Penga. Haven't seen much of him, have we, at all? The big number 6. Picks it up for a second go and gets absolutely dumped, illegally so.
Bring him to ground. You don't drop him. Back 10.
Haven't seen much of him at all. That's the prop.
Drop them on the ground.
Well, they're flirting with danger, aren't they, Korea? Look at this. They've got him up. Thankfully, someone's realised that's the case. They've been reasonably careful about the way they've got him back on the ground, hence the penalty only. And line the sticks up again. Oh, this could be death by 1,000 cuts, Boozer.
Holy smokes, he doesn't look big enough to go 50. That's big thinking. Stand by, everybody, for a couple of 100 decibels of yelling if this goes over. Saw him kicking a few at the captain's run yesterday. Him and Shahir. Didn't see them going for any long ones. So I'm not sure what his range is like. He obviously fancies it. Sharif Azwan from 49 metres. And an opportunist 3 points.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it's going.
Yeah.
It's going.
What about that one?
It's to the right, but the crowd cheers anyway. Had the distance. Goodness me. Kind of missed by much.
My word. What a fantastic attempt that was.
Brilliant. Still a Malaysian in back play with cramp, the latest victim of the dreaded cramp.
Oh, it's going round. I'm going to be getting a little bit myself.
Get the salt block out. Have a look at that. Korea go deep. They've lost all their shape now. The game pretty much lost its shape, so it's just a scrap now for the last 10 or so minutes. There's a big run coming in from substitute. Try score of Unimoko, tries to get out of one, gets out of two, gets up, goes again, gets thrown into the ground. Can they hold the ball? Keep it going. A juggle, a bobble. Hearts and mouths. Away it goes from Rebibi. Shahir taken down. Can't get the legs pumping. And getting up. This must be almost the most phases we've seen from the Malaysians in the entire match. They're up over the 22. Battling their way. Going over is Kim Ho Bum, and he's won the penalty there. In fact, it was the Malaysians coming in from the side, not through the gate. But I think Kim Ho Bum, the big number 4, had done well there. He might have earned the penalty anyway, but perhaps 7 or 8 phases there.
Well, Korea did well to hang on there. There was actually a few phases before this where the Korean defence marked up nicely 2 or 3 times. It's caused problems for Malaysia having to go those a little bit extra as they were running out of defenders. Malaysia were running out of attackers.
That was lazy work, wasn't it, from Fa'alua Penga, just coming in from the side there. No arms, lucky not to be penalised, didn't need to do it. But the Malaysians find themselves down on halfway again. And let's see if the Koreans can get super sub Jang Song Min in off his blind here. He's just hovering in behind. This is going half of the line out. There he goes, walking in field. Still another player down with cramp from Malaysia, but the play goes on. Putting his head down is Kim Jun-hyuk. He's had a solid game at 12. Nothing fancy. He's just put his head down. Both the Korean midfielders. There he goes, the other one there. That's Lee Jung-kyu. They've been workmanlike. They haven't put on any nice passes or created any magic really, but they've been solid enough. Here he goes. Here's Jang. Beats the first. Look at this guy go. He's an absolute beauty when he gets going. And that's quick ball for the Koreans. Rear quick ball. Lee Jin-seok up to the 22 now.
No!
Korea have been terribly frustrated by this Malaysian defence and their own handling skills. Oh, and Kim hook up with Jang, looking for his hat trick. Oh, and he can't hop down the line. The flag is up. Copeland's got the flag up. And it would have taken an absolute balancing act from a circus to have stayed in there.
Well, I mean, he's done incredibly well anyway, just to keep it in shape to get over the line. Sure, he went out of touch, but what amazing balance and skills from the Korean winger. It's been an absolute delight to watch, to be fair.
Yeah, one bright spot on this match today.
Look at this, just dicing with death. You know, oh, there's just nothing in it, really, is there? How he managed to keep it together for that long. It's almost like the plane that Steve Austin was in.
They can rebuild him.
Well, he's glad to see the referees. They can't be seriously having another TMO look at this. I mean, fair enough. You might as well put the guy through his paces. He's come all the way from Hong Kong. So 3 steps on the chalk at least.
I don't think he was going upstairs. He was
Just getting a breather.
Yeah.
We're going to carry on.
The match officials also
Time on.
saw Baker
We're
here
gonna carry
yesterday
on.
doing a
We've
few
gotta play.
laps in the heat of the day. And he struggled. He put 5 laps and he was a sweaty mess after that. Super fit, these guys.
On the line.
And now a defensive line out for Malaysia. They breathe again. Razman goes to the front and it's nicely batted back by Kim. Now what's happened here?
Great work from Malaysia.
The danger men is the same familiar faces doing all the work. Look out behind you. They're up to the half. If they come this way, they have numbers. It's a 5-on-2. Now it's a 2-on-2 somehow. Not sure how that happened. In comes the winger to support. That Asmir. And the big front row forward, Lawrence Petrus there, finding himself with the ball.
Push, Korea.
That's risky stuff across the face there by Shahir. But they keep going forward again, putting some phases together. It's not the prettiest stuff,
10, lead.
but at least they're holding on to the ball. Shahir has to go and get it. Look at the work right now on defence of these Koreans. Look at the line speed.
Tackle,
Here
blue,
is
leave
super
it
sub
blue.
again, Lawrence Petrus. Just struggling to get that one between the
There,
old sausages.
stay.
Goodness me, that's a bag of spanners, isn't it? It comes back though. There's still no overlap, but it doesn't matter because Vuni Moku's there and he puts it away to Asmir, who centres, gets off the left foot. Lee Jo Bok thinks about kicking. Danger Man Jang. And he loses that one in contact, so he is
I'm going to
human
come back.
after
There's
all.
no advantage. They knocked it on
And
as
they
I
had the
said.
try line beckoning there.
Come back for the first one against
Tackle
Red.
was made. Come
Blue
back for
ball.
the knock on.
Yeah, just the last moments of that sequence of plays. Pulling forearm around the chin too, just for his
First red,
troubles.
blue.
But you make the point there that there was a bag of spanners. It's actually pretty well handled by Tim Baker. He's just let that play develop. He's seen it pretty cleanly himself. And even though the Koreans looked like they might have dominated on the counter ruck, he wasn't willing to call it too early. And I guess is begrudged as I am to
Blue
say it,
ball, blue ball.
It's a good referee.
knock-ons.
Talking about build-ups, we know that Hong Kong had a warm-up match last Saturday against the Chiefs Development Squad from New Zealand, who were in town for their 4th annual visit. And that will go a long way for prepping them. And
Hold red.
based on what we've seen today, we're going to see a significant improvement from these two sides to make a match out of it with Hong Kong, who will have their own issues, combinations, new players, the heat, the travel, etc. But game plan all important, and it's pretty hard to sort of isolate or
Crush.
identify a game plan from either of these sides. It's
Fine.
not one that's been put into any great effect
Sit.
anyway. Handling errors haven't helped, but the lack of a game plan. We've seen the Koreans started kicking the ball more in the
both
second
moving.
half. More precisely,
Reset
they
it.
haven't really
Blue
backed
ball.
themselves through the backs. This entire
You
back
need to
line,
take the weight, okay? And you need to push.
starting back line, we're in Hong Kong for the sevens with a couple of forwards. They've had time together. And they can definitely score tries. They haven't really
Crouch.
created much, although we've seen Jang get away twice.
Bind.
That's about it, really.
Sit.
It's been a bit disappointing from them. And the Malaysian
Stay.
powerful midfield as well hasn't really broken the line. Here's another chance though. Lee Jo Bok, again there's the kick. Just going
Big
for
mark.
territory. Has he overcooked that? And it's well judged from the fullback. And that is very well judged by Lee Jo Bok. And he'll be getting a couple of pats on the back from the forwards who are in no hurry to get over there themselves.
Well, Korea did the job early, didn't they, in the first 20 minutes when they scored the bulk of their points, and potentially that might have actually been
Malaysia on the
the
line.
match plan, would be to open up some distance between them and the home side, and then just have some faith in the legs coming down the back straight that you've done enough early to see them off. And as we've seen, they've been severely tested in the conditions, haven't they, Korea? If anything, the Malaysians have seemed to come back into the game. It has slowed down considerably. There's been much less play in the last 15 minutes than there was in the first 60.
Straight down, straight down.
Continues to be difficult.
First man on the ball.
Malaysia.
Holding
One
on.
penalty there.
Number 16, all
Pretty,
right.
But they're going to escape with a penalty, try and get out. Not much angle to work with.
No.
I think they won the second half, Malaysia, so far.
It's probably a fair call, isn't it? I think it's a penalty converted try to a try.
Yes.
To a converted try, sorry, Pooja.
Yep.
So leading 10-7.
That's right. And the banana kick there from Shahir, not really coming off, makes 2 or 3 metres. This time the line out is a good one. They get a little bit of a roll on.
Got that side, Copes.
It's not the
Going
prettiest rolling
sideways.
ball you'll ever have come across. It doesn't matter. This time Shahir peels off a few more metres and actually gets a good connection on that. And they're about 30 metres out now from their line as we come to the final minute of this match. If you go back to last year and Korea hit their straps in their home game against Japan. They went down, I think it was 29-43. Scored 5 good tries that day, and Jamie Joseph was impressed, the Japanese coach. They never really got back up after that. The return match, they went down 82-10 in Japan. Absolutely walloped. Here they come again with a last chance to try and win themselves a spot in next week's starting lineup. And it comes Jang's way in 23. They're looking for the big man. Lee Jai Bok goes through with a little chip. Jang's after this. Can he get on with a cameo? No, it's gone over the line there, but that was one of the, that'll make the highlight reel, I suggest, even though it wasn't a try.
Gutsy work by the Malaysian halfback to hit across right in the death of the game. Still got pride in his line. Look at that, they're zeroing in on it big time, aren't they?
Off Malaysia's
just
foot,
gets the
blue
ball
ball.
in there. That was great skill from Lee Jai Bok. And how would that have been for Jang? Hasn't touched the ball yet. Might have scored with his first touch, but not to be. Time up on the clock, waiting the hooter now. Malaysia with the defensive scrum. Can they see off this scrum? Malaysia, I'm sure the Koreans are going to give this one last mighty effort here. Brace yourself, Bridget.
Crouch! 5! Sit!
They just want to go for the scrum again, I think. That's probably the obvious option there.
Well, if I recall anything about that game where they played well, the Koreans it's probably the interview with Jamie Joseph the following week, in which he had explained to the Japanese players that he felt that they may have not been committing themselves enough in defence. Now, I'm not exactly sure if those were the words from Jamie,
Crouch!
or even close to the tone that Jamie
Fine.
used. But something certainly happened amongst that Japanese group.
82-10 the following week. Here we go. Can they muster a 5-pointer out of this? The Malaysians coming in, trying to turn it there. Here's Jang. He could finish from here. This man is hard to stop. Goes low. The big prop. It's number 17. We're gonna go upstairs, are we? Who is it?
Dowie.
It's Kim Kwon Sik from the Hino Club.
Dowie, any reason?
Another big man, 130
Just checking
kilos.
the
Yeah,
There.
he
No
is,
one was
he's
interested.
an absolute whopper.
Yeah.
No one looked that interested in stopping him.
Just got
And
caught
if he hasn't scored here,
Let's take a look at this. Certainly got it over the line.
Yeah,
Well,
thanks, though.
he's put it down so delicately.
no hesitation this time, Tim Baker. And there it is, the consolation try, really. I was going to say that 28 points might be fair. But the forwards, for all their toil, they put that one down to the forwards. But even then, they couldn't put away that Malaysian scrum and that final scrum there. So almost a feather in the cap, some you might say, for the Malaysians. They've matched the forwards nearly up front today, and I did not expect that, especially with the weight, the experience, and these Japanese-based players. They have not out-muscled the Malaysians as O looks to put the icing on a soggy old cake. He does so. So it's 35 points to 10 here at the National Stadium as we look again at this last try. There's Jang on his hands and knees. And they were lining up and they weren't going to stop him from there. Fresh legs. All he had to do was hold it, and ooh, he just got it, didn't he? That was a better angle. Try time, 35 points to 10, and we are underway here in the Asia Rugby Championship. Round 1, Jed, your comments, how would you sum up this effort?
Yeah, look, and a day that will be, I guess, a wonderful memory for the Malaysian players. The career have come, they looked a little bit disjointed, perhaps not as well prepared. The conditions were almost intolerable, and they got away to a fairly strong start. But Malaysia, well, they're learning, they're putting it together, they're acquiring all the knowledge they possibly can, and my word, what a crowd to play in front of.
Let's have a look at a few of the highlights then from the match. As we see the Koreans there, they'll know in their heart of hearts that they've got a lot of work to do, and Coach Choi won't be impressed at all. Second half highlights. Here was the second try to Jang. One of the bright sparks today.
Yeah, terrific hands here by the centre, Lee Jun-kyu. Just the ability to get away under pressure. Although you've got to question the decision making of the Malaysian winger to come up and out of the line there. Could have just floated across, used the sideline as their friend, and in the end, this bloke, I've seen him out of the stables a couple of times. He can absolutely motor. Then this one, which was, well, beautifully constructed. You would have to say. It's fooled everybody. Fooled us, fooled the Koreans, didn't fool the Malaysian fans. There was no need to TMA that one. It's superb work.
Yeah, for a struggling line out, just to pull that one out flawlessly, that's drill work, isn't it? And they got a lot easier ones wrong. They pulled out the one that matters.
We want to put that one in the back pocket though when Hong Kong get here. And then here we go, the final effort. Well, he's a thoroughbred, this man, isn't he? Speaking of well-bred.
Well-bred and well-fed.
So, concrete trunk and a dump truck went together there for that one. He's a big old man.
And let's hope we see a bit more of Jang in his next game. He's one of the stars they've got to rely on. And I'm not sure if they'll bring other players in once we go to Korea for the games 3 and 4 of this series. But anyway, a win's a win, and here are the stats of the game. Lots of tackles, lots of phases, just not that many points you'd expect from that many phases. And then the handling errors down there, 21 in total. There seemed like there were more. And the Malaysians on the far side are getting a standing ovation. We're going to go sideline now. Aaron Stockdale is with the Korean skipper.
Congratulations on the win here against Malaysia. Obviously playing in front of a vociferous crowd. What does he think was the most important aspect in the win for Korea today?
오늘 말레이시아 경기 승리하신 거 다시 한번 축하드립니다. 많은 관중 앞에서 오늘 경기하셨는데요. 경기를 승리를 이끌기까지 가장 중요하거나 생각하셨거나 어려웠던 점이 있으시면 말씀해 주십시오.
일단 저희가 가장 중요하게 생각하는 스크럼 라인아웃에서 저희는 좀 저희가 준비한 만큼 잘 보여줘서 잘 경기했다고 생각하고요. 했습니다. 그리고 어려웠던 점은 저희 역시 날씨나 이 미끄러운 점을 좀 대비했는데 그래도 저희가 그만큼 잘 준비해서 오늘 승리를 이끈 것 같습니다.
Well, we've been practicing a lot for the screen lineup. I think we have to actually show a lot based on our practice been so far. And most of the challenging thing is that, of course, the hot weather and the ground was very slippery. That was a pretty challenging for us.
Obviously a good win for you to start the championship. What's it going to take? Obviously you're going home. You play Hong Kong at home in your next match. What's going to be the key ingredient here for getting ready for Hong Kong in 2 weeks' time?
오늘 경기는 잘 마무리되신 것 같습니다. 이제 돌아가셔서 홍콩 경기랑 또 이제 한국 경기 준비하셔야 되는데요. 다음 단계로 준비하셔야 될 점은 어떤 점이 있다고 생각하세요?
저희 이번에 또 말레이시아 했던 것처럼 스크럼 라인아웃은 그대로 가져갈 거고 이제 포워드의 좀 더 조직적인 움직임과 빠른 리로드로 홍콩전에 잘 대비하겠습니다.
Well, of course, we have to prepare the next day, which is a Hong Kong match. Our stream is pretty good. We're going to keep it up, our good standard. However, we're going to do the more forward and more organized structure and based on our best practice.
All right, thanks again and congratulations.
다시 한번
So
축하드립니다.
there we have it, the words of Lee Yong-sung there with Aaron Stockdale. Mixed emotions really for him. They've scored 35 points, but it has not been a stellar performance. And the Malaysians there, well, they scored 10 points, and who can deny them their moment to stand in front of their crowd, take a few snaps and enjoy this moment. First game of rugby at this stadium, their first game of rugby at this level. They have not embarrassed themselves at all. We're going to go now, Aaron Stockdale with the Malaysian skipper.
Lee, obviously disappointed here in terms of the result, but what are your thoughts on your first match in the Asia Rugby Championship?
Well, for this Asia Championship, we felt very proud, especially this is the first time we play in this championship, and the boys come back strongly, especially in the second half, and I hope that this is a good experience, especially for the boys, and of course we are looking forward for the next 3 matches.
Like you said, they came back strong in the second half. What was the key message that you told the boys in the sheds at half time?
Well, we had to cut down the unforced errors. That especially in the first half, we lost the ball and we didn't play as a unit. And the second half, we cut down those unforced errors. And then we come back from there, we can see the flow of the game, that we have more possession instead of losing the ball unnecessarily.
And the last question here, obviously national side, first time to play at this fantastic stadium. What are your thoughts on your team playing in front of this magnificent crowd here?
It's a very, this stadium brings very good for especially the rugby in Malaysia as well as Asia. Because with the capacity of 85,000. And we felt that this is an opportunity as a recognition from the Ministry of Sports for us to use this stadium, and we're looking very positive that rugby will going forward, especially in the Asia.
All right, thanks again, and we'll obviously see you back here next week for the match against Hong Kong.
Thank you so much.
Here we go, that was the coach, of course, not the captain. There are the standings then after this one-match career. No bonus points, but they do take the 4, and the campaign is underway. Malaysia, well, it's going to be a tough series for them. All they can hope is just to continue improving throughout the series to keep their fans delighted and coming back next week. Same bat channel, same bat time. It's Malaysia hosting Hong Kong at the National Stadium for round 2. That should be another big test for the Malaysians as the Hong Kong squad get their campaign underway. Lee Jones and the boys coming over, 4:30 p.m. local time. Once again, give us a follow, asia.rugby on Facebook, where you can keep up with all the news, the headlines, the videos, the comments. On Instagram at Asia Rugby Live, hashtag, and on Twitter at Asia Rugby. On behalf of myself, Jed Thine, and Asia Rugby, thank you for joining us today as we get underway this 2018 Asia Rugby Championship. We hope you'll join us next week. Good night.